Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com.
Where is your husband? Caesar!
All right, I got the book for you.
Awesome!
Now, can I please have the cell phone?
Sure, Outlander. I'll get it. Outlander! Outlander! We have your woman! She still lives, Outlander! Outlander! Her blood was spared! What the heck are you talking about? Butters, calm down, all right?
This is Texas Podcast Massacre.
Welcome to the 14th episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you live once again, luckily, from Houston, Texas.
We made it.
Yep. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me, as always, are the Malachis to my Isaac, Lisa.
You threw me off with that. We're going to send her a get wild card from Seattle.
And Nate.
Let not the blood pollute the corn.
You didn't do a good enough Isaac.
Oh, sorry.
You got to really get whiny with it.
Okay. But let not the flesh pollute the corn. Was that better?
That was something. So welcome back. Well, thanks for tuning back in this week. We had to miss last week due to Hurricane Harvey.
The scariest movie of them all.
That's right. But we are back. The podcast studio survived, and we are ready to move forward. So each week on Texas Podcast Massacre, we take a look at a different horror movie. We discuss some news, and we debate some horror-related topic with our unsuspecting victim. Now, this week, we are going to talk Children of the Corn with our newest unsuspecting victim and resident Outlander, Tom.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Nice. Well, welcome, Tom. So Tom, where are you from, first off?
Valparaiso, Indiana, home of a lot of corn.
Yeah, it is a corn hub for sure.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, good old Valpo. So you know Nate for quite a long time, I take it.
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I expected. Wow. So,
blasphemer. That's all I gotta say.
All right, so Tom, so you're our unsuspecting victim. You know, I believe Nate has said you are not a fan of horror movies. I think you kind of told us before we started. So of the movies that Nate has most assuredly dragged you to, Are there any that you particularly do like, or are they just all garbage?
Oh, they are mostly garbage. What was that? We saw the one with Timothy Oliphant. It was like The Crazies.
Oh God,
that wasn't crazy.
Terrible.
I enjoyed that one. Okay, yeah.
That wasn't that terrible. That
wasn't that. All right, that's as good as I can do. Not that terrible. Got it.
Nate. I mean, yes, you can attest to. Nate has a peculiar sense of what he considers good horror film.
Cabin Fever's great. Let's go watch it in theaters.
It's got Ryder Strong from Boy Meets World. What could go wrong? I don't understand.
So many.
That's great. Well, all right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. We got a lot to cover today. But so we'll start first, as we always do, with the news.
First eyewitness account came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent.
So this week, it's beginning of the month, so we're going to talk about what's kind of coming up on Netflix. And what I wanted to really highlight is the Netflix original films that are actually coming out. So what's already been released is one called Little Evil. This is a horror comedy with Adam Scott. You may know him from Parks and Rec, from several things. Parks and Rec's the biggest thing I know him from. Evangeline Lilly from Lost. And I don't know who this kid is, but essentially he is...
Knockoff Damien.
Yeah, knockoff Damien. He's basically he finds out his son is the Antichrist. It's like if The Omen were a comedy. I thought The Omen was a comedy to begin with. This is really just leaning into it.
Yeah, this is the guy who did Tucker and Dale vs. Evil also.
Yes, which is great. I think Donald Faison on Scrubs, Turk is in it.
Turk's there.
There's a lot. It looks pretty funny. You said you started watching it right now.
Yeah, I started watching it, and then I was like, oh, crap. I need to, pay attention, because I was doing something else. Like, okay, I got to stop this. But, no, it started out pretty funny, so I will definitely be watching it pretty shortly.
Yeah. Now, Tom, have you seen, I guess, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, or Is this kind of? Do you like these kind of horror comedies, or do you like your comedy a little more clean?
I've seen it scroll through Netflix a lot, but never clicked on it.
What about like Shaun of the Dead, Tom? Is that
Oh, see, that's okay. I can deal with that.
okay? Maybe Shaun of the Dead. Okay, see,
I feel like this is going to be similar.
Yeah.
That's our, yeah.
Well, okay. And then the next one. So since we're really kind of, this is really Stephen King week, isn't it? I mean,
he had like was it like Mr. Mercedes? It was like a TV show that came out. He's got it.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Tower Bomb.
Well, hey,
So-
but it came out. But it came out.
It did
That's
come
all
out.
that matters.
It's coming out next week, and then later this month we're getting Gerald's Game. So this is about it's from his 1992 novel. Woman accidentally kills her husband after being handcuffed to a bed, leaving her unable to free herself. As time passes,
Accidentally?
AKA Lisa's worst nightmare.
So as time passes and she realizes that rescue is an all but hopeless thought, she begins to slip into insanity, the voices in her head manifesting into visions.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
It's
typical
hitting
Stephen
really close to
King.
home for Lisa. I don't know. This is very hard.
It's like came right out of her
Yeah.
personal diary.
What is the name of this lady again? Carla something? I can never say her name right.
I don't.
The lady from
Carla Gugino?
yeah, there you see.
From what? What's she from?
Sin
Oh, the
City. And,
Oh.
What was that, Tom?
Was that the MMA girl?
no, that's Gina.
No, that's Gina
Gina
Carano.
Carano. Yeah.
You got your initials flipped, but I was kind of with you there too. I was like, no, this would be a much different film of Gina
Yeah,
Carano. She was basically just rip
break
off the
through the
yeah,
handcuffs.
Yeah,
Yeah, no problem.
I do not want to see the voices that are in Gina Carano's head because they are probably very intimidating.
Oh, that's it. That's the whole
That's
movie.
that's what you think is there now. So Lisa, Tom, does this sound like something?
Lisa's
up Tom's
out.
alley?
Lisa's out.
Lisa's
Nope.
already shaking her head no.
All the
No,
no.
you got nothing.
So yeah,
Tom's a no.
Tom's saying
All the
something.
no.
all the
He says no. Yeah, I just don't. This is what I'll do. Is it a novel or a short story? Do we know?
It's a novel.
It's
No, it's a novel.
It's a novel.
Stephen King's novels are long. I was gonna say
Oh, this is a shorter one, I believe. This
Is it?
Yeah, this is a shorter one.
okay,
Yeah.
because it is very long and The Shining is very long. I was gonna say maybe I'll read it and see if I like the book, and then if I like the book, maybe I'll see the movie. But I don't know.
It's on Netflix. I mean, there's
on
no
the fence.
no
Yeah.
downside. Just check it out.
There is a downside. It's my time. And I've already seen enough movies with you guys.
Once you watch Tourist Trap, everything else
yeah,
is gravy after that.
exactly.
You see this, and this is why we don't let Lisa look at the schedule when we play in the movies.
Yeah,
So
that's
we-
fair. I
so
totally
many
get it.
vetoes. So Tom. So let me ask you this, Tom. You said all the no to this one. Is there anything about it that turned you off about the storyline? Just
It sounds like Misery. He started doing Misery again, being chained to the bed, and then got bored and made hallucinations.
Oh, okay.
so like what if Kathy Bates ate it early? Is kind of he had two stories. Like
This takes place in the past, and the woman who was handcuffed is Kathy Bates' character from Misery.
Whoa.
Ooh, yeah.
I think you got Tom back involved.
All right. Very good. That would be awesome. I'd be in for that for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, so check that out. That'll be toward the end of the month. We'll see about whether we want to talk about that later on. Last thing with the news is just tonight, being that you're listening to this on Tuesday, you'll hopefully be watching the new season of American Horror Story Cult. We talked about it a little bit. I did want to ask, so Nate, I know you really haven't watched a whole lot of it.
Yeah, I watched part of season 1 and part of season 4. That was the witch one.
No, that's 3.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
4 was the clown one.
Yes, Forest Freak
Okay.
Show.
Okay. Yeah.
And Tom, have you seen American Horror Story?
I watched the first season back in the day.
Okay. What were so for you two then?
Tom's a really big Dylan McDermott fan. That was the only reason why. Actually.
That's what you're in, yeah. Well, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that got me in.
The Practice? Was it The Practice? Was that him? I think so.
Was that Dermot Mulroney?
Dang it. I don't. Who
Way
knows?
to go,
One
Nate.
of them. One of them.
So I know Lisa and I have watched all of them.
All of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a very. I mean, Yeah.
On Halloween, you went as the clown.
I did.
From Freak Show, and that was
I
very
was Twisty
creepy.
the clown. I did the full makeup. Actually got a skin cap and got the little fake hair to
Yeah, it was
to
the
work
joke.
underneath my bald cap there.
Creeped out all of our friends all night.
It was tight. Yeah,
It was awesome.
You know, I'm a yeah. It's a big. If you're a big guy like I am, it's a good costume because it's very kind of imposing. So I guess for everyone, I'm just curious: is there a scene from American Horror Story that kind of sticks out to you still that maybe you were like, oh crap, like that's something that's really cool or that actually kind of scared you a little bit? Nate, we'll start with you.
Yeah, well, I can see now, remembering the show, because I haven't watched it in a while, but I can see now why you were basement prejudiced, because in the first season, there's a lot of basement-related horror, and so I get that. I would say...
That's not the only base. Every basement we've run across, Nate, has been terrible.
Yep.
There's some good ones.
Uh-huh.
No, but I would say in the third season when they flipped that school bus,
Okay.
that was pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, yeah.
I liked that. That was awesome. It's like, oh, the guy tried to or sexually assault a dude, just flip the school bus and like murder everybody. That was awesome. I like that.
All right.
Yeah, revenge bus flipping.
There you go.
I'm pro that.
Glad to know where you stand on that.
Yeah.
Tom, how about you?
Like the GIMP, all the GIMP stuff, which is creepy as shit.
Gimps?
The guy in the blacks in the full bodysuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah. That's where you're like, this is weird, man.
Yep.
Fair. Dylan McDermott turning on the stove naked was kind of weird, but for me, it's when she finds herself, the big twist in season 1 with the daughter. I guess
just fucking ruin it.
We do have
Who
spoilers.
cares?
You're right. I do
Who
have
cares?
spoilers. I know. I still feel bad when Violet finds that she actually didn't survive the suicide attempt, and she's dead in the tub.
Oh,
Nate obviously didn't get to that point.
I did not get there.
Well, he wasn't going to. Let's be real.
I got to the part. Now it was there was the old lady who was the redhead, the hot redheaded.
Yeah,
person,
Yeah,
right?
that's
the
not
maid.
that.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming now, because Tom has confirmed this fan theory of mine, that Dylan McDermott looks like that to himself, but to everyone else, he looks like Dermot Mulroney, right? Isn't that
That's
a similar thing?
That is also a twist in this.
Okay,
You're
all
right.
right.
You're
Okay,
right.
I called it.
Lisa, wrap it up for us. What was your?
So to me, the biggest thing, since we've seen all seasons, we've been invested in all the seasons. I think it was not Asylum. At one point, you start to realize that even though these are separate worlds, they're connected. And we don't know by how much yet, but we're starting to get glimpses of that. So people are starting to try to piece together who's who and how they all fit together. So I think that's really interesting, because we thought it was just going to be like standalone, stories. And now that he's like, no, they're going to fit together. So I think it's not really shocking, but it's kind of cool.
we kind of talked about the universe building when we talked about Annabelle. Yeah, it's like same kind of thing. Some of it doesn't make as much sense as others, but it's like, it's cool.
Whatever. It's all good. What about yours, Mitch? What's yours?
Oh no, I said it was Violet.
Okay, it's that.
The thing I ruined for you.
Okay,
now.
the thing you ruined. That's the only one. Okay, got it.
I did. To be fair, you're all witnesses. I did try to not ruin it, and Nate, you yourself said go ahead.
Yeah, that's how many years ago was this? Like 6 years ago? Whatever. That's fine.
Yes. Okay.
Bruce Willis is dead in Sixth Sense. If everyone didn't know that or not, I'm just gonna throw that out. As well.
Spoilers.
Oh my god. All right. So with that, we will move on then to what I have ready for y'all is our debate question of the week.
We will see how the Lord favors you.
No, you dare not, you blaspheme! He will punish you! The jaws of hell will devour you! All of you! No!
Now, you may have all thought that was a clip from Children of the Corn, but that is really what I tell my co-host here every time we stop recording and I disagree with everything you said.
Yes.
So this is After the Void, particularly.
You should be in the movies, Mitch.
I should.
You should really be there.
Thank you. I appreciate
Children of
that.
the Corn 8. There we go.
Okay, so my question, Children of the Corn, obviously a lot of not really even symbolism. It's straight up just really about corn, and I just cornfields everywhere. Valpo apparently has a lot of corn.
Oh yeah, Tom and I are in corn. We're from corn areas.
We played a show in Valpo, so I do remember driving through cornfields up there, and to get there. So let me ask you all this: scariest plant-based horror film.
or any horror film with a creepy plant.
Yes.
Type thing.
Plants are somehow a key piece of the film or whatever. What is it to you? Lisa, let's start with you.
I bet y'all are going to guess what I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's fine. Go for it.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
It's such a fantastic movie. And when you're a kid and you see that, the plant, it's just so creepy. I don't know why the
name's
Yeah, I can't think of the plant's name right now.
I only remember Seymour.
Yeah, they're laughing at me, guys, because I'm over here with my hand mimicking the plant.
Like Pac-Man over here just swallowing little invisible dots. Yeah.
Yeah, but when it's little, it's cute, and then it gets bigger, and it's like, feed me, and yeah, it's kind of creepy. And then apparently from that, there was an alternate ending. Because in the original one, I think everything ends fine and they're happy and Rick Moranis, is with the girl and that's cool. Apparently there was an alternate ending that they decided not to do where the plant just takes over.
Yeah.
Just like literally gets as giant as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Ghostbusters and just takes over the town.
Isn't that how the play ends, I think?
Probably.
That would be awesome. I would have been all for that instead. That's cool.
So that to me is my favorite plant-based
solid pick. Tom,
movie.
how about you?
Probably The Happening, because the acting was horrific.
Yes. Plant-based.
You mean Marky Mark wasn't a convincing
No, hold on.
protagonist
I got
for you?
this. I got this. It was because Marky Mark was so wooden.
Ooh.
You knew you deserved it. All right, so Tom, what about so talk us through The Happening? What about it? Defend your pick, I guess.
I was so scared watching that. Like, what is happening? Why am I wasting my time with this?
Was it more scary that people had money to fund this?
Yeah, you're like,
Yes.
what is it?
And he's like whispering to the plant, "We're okay. We're just gonna have a drink of water and go. We're gonna go to the bathroom and go." It was terrifying.
I will say I did at least enjoy like the one guy that gets like mowed through with his like industrial lawnmower.
Yeah.
Then I think a lion kills someone at one point.
Dude,
yeah.
This movie.
Some of the death scenes were kind of cool, and that was it.
Mass Suicide was good. Oh yeah, this movie's great.
But no, I agree. M. Night Shyamalan has
he's back now, man.
No, he's not.
The Visit, Split. He's got Glass coming out. The Split.
Fool me one,
crossover.
Shyamalan. Shame on you. Okay, Nate, how about you?
I'm gonna go with the possessed attacking plants from Evil Dead. So
The vines.
Yeah, the vines. They're, I would say, sexual assault vines.
Yeah, I mean, someone who watched a lot of Japanese hentai porn.
Vine porn.
Yeah,
this is basically rural.
The sad thing is it sounds like y'all are joking, but that's probably out there somewhere.
It is.
It's 100% out. Oh,
I mean,
wow, Mitch's knowing look across the table is
all right.
Wow, that was terrible. No, but in Evil Dead, trying to escape, the vines not only grab you and make you unable to move, also removing clothing, also penetrative, and. That is really scary.
Are you just jealous? Is that
it's really scary. Well, against the will part, I'm not really for it. But
yes, no, I understand that.
No, but yeah, that was real creepy watching that as a little kid.
Yeah.
Again, I always watched these horror movies way too early, but yeah, that was creepy as hell.
Yeah, Mitch made me watch that one early on in the horror movie
in the relationship.
Indoctrination, and
Yeah.
I was like, what in the hell am I watching?
Indoctrination?
What else are you gonna call it?
That's true.
I'm the unsuspecting host.
My wife would also probably say a similar brainwashing, indoctrination, whatever. Oh,
so I first, you're all wrong per usual.
Okay.
So there were two I debated on. I'll tell you what my answer is. I'll tell you what kind of gets honorable mention.
Honorable mention. What's honorable mention?
Well, honorable mention is Troll 2.
Oh, sure.
Because they turn the whole thing is that these trolls. No, they're not trolls. They're goblins. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's Troll 2, but they're not trolls. It's goblins.
Get your facts straight.
Excuse me.
No
this
one
movie
cares.
is terrible. And I'm really just mad.
Terrible. We're doing this. This is a
This
future
movie
episode.
makes me mad because
this
this is one, Tom, you'll appreciate this one Nate made me watch.
No, I made him watch it too.
Oh, you've seen it too, Tom. Great. So
Yeah.
you can commiserate with me. So they're vegetarian goblins, and they turn everyone into plants. And I think the one dude is literally sitting in like a pot while he's looking at this chick like being turned into green mush.
Yeah.
And being eaten by goblins. Tom, did I paint the picture right?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah. Garbage movie.
It's not a garbage movie. Okay.
But my official answer, that was what I was going to go into, but then I remembered there's a movie called The Ruins. It's just very close to kind of yours.
I don't think I've seen this.
These two American couples go to Mexico and they go find like an archaeological dig around some Mayan ruin. I guess it's Mayan. It may be who knows? Some indigenous, one of the three major ones. Doesn't matter. They find vines that basically consume people, and then they get trapped there, and then it's a long, can they get out? It's an okay movie, but again, another one of these vines, kind of not so much sexually aggressive like yours are.
I say downside.
When you have your therapist session, that might be something to bring up. But this is just, they're just devouring them.
So what's the? Can you do a comparison for me? So the ruined vines versus Evil Dead vines. What's the? I haven't seen the ruins. So are they bigger? Like how?
No, there's just a lot more of them, and they get in you, and they basically just devour you. Versus yours is it's like almost possession. It's a vehicle for possession.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the difference.
Can I maybe add something to this whole Vine discussion? Because it reminds me of.
God, here we go.
What, Nate?
We're earning the TV MA on this episode.
No. It's the Devil's Snare from Harry Potter. Because at one point they're literally in St. Mungo's and someone has brought a devil's snare and no one, for some reason, recognizes what it is and it just kills a guy in the middle of the night. They're like, oh, that was a devil's snare. Okay.
What's a devil's snare again?
It's deadly. It's a deadly plant. Deadly vine. It basically strangles you like a boa constrictor type. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Well,
once again, Harry Potter
ruins.
What you're telling me is just stay away from vines.
Always.
Yeah.
And maybe the Amazon.
That's why Vine was shut down. Actually, that's related to that.
This podcast.
Yeah.
I'm trying to set a record.
I haven't had to work that hard.
I'm trying to set a record here. Okay.
Tom, any comments you want to add around this? I feel like Tom's about to what did I sign up for? Why am I on this?
Oh, no. I was trying to think of other plant stuff, but my horror knowledge base is limited compared to your guys's.
I couldn't come up with a whole lot of backup ones either.
Yeah. There's you were very excited for this question, Nate.
I was. Well, it was like corn is really creepy, right? I mean, as someone who grew up near cornfields, it can get pretty at night. It can be really creepy. But yeah,
well, the scarecrows. I mean, I guess Jeepers Creepers, but because that was in a cornfield as well. The second one was.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, he literally set out there as a scarecrow. That was kind of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
It's a small subset, but there's some good stuff in there.
All right. Well, I think we stretched this corn / grass, whatever thing is a plant base as long as we could.
/ grass.
We're gonna move then. I think if y'all are ready to this week's movie of the week, Children of the Corn.
Every child is afraid of the dark, the unknown, the nightmare. In Gatlin, Nebraska, that nightmare is in the corn. Stephen King's Children of the Corn.
Praise God! Praise the Lord!
From Stephen King, the author of Carrie, The Shining, The Dead Zone, and Christine, an adult nightmare. Children of the Corn.
I'm here, Lord! I'm ready!
Best thing about 80s horror movies are the soundtracks.
Yeah, of course.
Easily. So, Children of the Corn.
Wait, who wrote the short story this is based on?
Oh, Stephen King.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that.
Although, this movie, you're right. Did you know this is an American nightmare? If you're a kid, not so much.
Yeah.
An adult nightmare?
Yeah, an adult nightmare.
Yeah.
Right, so this movie is the classic film. I won't give away too many details because I'm sure you have some stuff ready.
Yeah,
Nate.
sure.
But so the point of this movie is about a couple who is driving through to Seattle, and they get stuck in an abandoned town where they realize all of the adults are missing. And what's left are these kids who are following this very bizarre, perverted religion that worships someone called He Who Hides Behind,
He Who Walks Behind the Rose.
You know, it changes every few movies, but you're in this one, it's He Who Walks Behind the Rose. You're right.
These are the original kids, and then over the course of time, the stories all changed.
Yeah, of course. You know, as any mythology story
exactly.
does. All right, so Nate, tell us a little bit more about this one.
Sure. So this came out in 1984. It's 92 minutes long. IMDB and Rotten Tomatoes not super kind to this movie, which I'm assuming some people will agree with. 5.6 on IMDb in a 38% on Rotten. So not great. The tagline, as you mentioned, Mitch, is "An Adult Nightmare," which is a terrible tagline for this movie. But the ratings might not be great, but the movie was made for $800,000, but it made $14.6 million in the box office, so it did extremely well. And like we mentioned, and the trailer mentioned 6 times, it's based on a Stephen King short story. Director Fritz Kirsch was his first feature film, shocking. And then he went on to do lots of crappy movies. I wasn't going to write down any of the names of these movies. He did literally nothing after this. Linda Hamilton was obviously the main female lead, Vicky, and she was in this movie and Terminator in the same year. So she was like, all right, I'm assuming Terminator, and then this was like her backup plan, just in case Terminator didn't do well. Like, I'm in Terminator. James Cameron is great, but I've heard good things about Fritz Kirsch also. So let me see if I can.
It's called hedging your bets.
Yeah, she hedged her bets, and it worked out. Obviously, Linda Hamilton has been in the other Terminator series, Dante's Peak, the Beauty and the Beast TV show. That's terrible. Here is my trivia question for you guys. I'm going to make Mitch go first here. So Isaac was played by actor John Franklin. Okay. How many years old was he when this movie was filmed? Or when this movie came out?
Okay, so
Isaac.
Okay, so
Isaac.
I know his character is supposed to be 9. I bet he is significantly older. I'm going to say he is 17.
17. Okay, Lisa.
20.
20. Tom.
11.
John Franklin was 25 years old. Oh.
I knew he was older. I would not have expected that. He's like that kid from the middle.
He's like a small person. Like he's like, even as an adult, obviously did not grow very tall.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was 25. And he's like about 15 years older than his character is.
Is that why he has to put on such a fake, high-pitched voice?
Yeah.
Do we know that's fake?
That's true.
I should have. I didn't go into the interviews or anything. But yeah, so John Franklin, who played Isaac, he was Cousin It in the Addams Family movies, I guess, which you never really see his face.
Crazy. Okay.
And I had to write this down because this is a credit. He plays Walkout Chucky voice in Child's Play. I don't even know what that means.
Walkout.
That's probably like on the conveyor belt as they're making the Chuckies, and they're like, "I'm your best friend." That voice, maybe.
He has a creepy voice. That could be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was that. Okay, so this is my second question. Malachi was played by Christopher Gaines. How old was he when this?
Wait, Chris Gaines, like Garth Brooks' alter ego? Yes.
Oh man.
Origin story.
Yeah. Wow. This movie is in low places. I'll give you that one. All right, Tom. So you have to go first this time. How old do you think Christopher Gaines was? The guy who played Malachi. How old?
16.
16. Okay. Mitch, what do you got?
I'm gonna go younger than his character's age is supposed to be. I'm gonna say he was 13.
13. Okay. Lisa.
15.
15. He was 19 years old.
Okay.
All of these people were freaking old. They were supposed to be children.
Well, but his character's supposed to be that age, so that's fine.
19? No, they're supposed to be. If you're 19, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead.
No, but that.
Yeah, you're dead if you're 19.
He was about to be 18 in the movie.
So he was supposed to be 17 then?
Well,
Almost
okay.
18?
So I'll just say this. I've read the short story, so I know a lot of the difference. So if I'm getting stuff twisted. But he is supposed to be
likely
18
story.
because that's
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
so
his time's almost up.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, so he was 19, and then obviously Christopher Gaines, or AKA Chris Gaines, was in Back to the Future, The Burbs, and Lisa's favorite, Sweet Home Alabama. So,
Of which I've never seen. So
which you've
thanks,
never
Nate.
seen. Wait, what for ruining it? So there's a copy of Night Shift from Stephen King in the car while Linda Hamilton and Bert, the guy, are driving. There was a lot of real corn used in this movie, but a lot of it was polyurethane, so they could manipulate it and turn it and have it attack people. The original ending had Vicky, Linda Hamilton's character, being murdered and her eyes taken out, but they removed that, which would have been awesome.
It's from the
It was filmed mostly in Iowa, so actually not in Nebraska. That was the majority, was in Iowa. And they filmed some in California. I wrote down basically filmed where Tom and I grew up because basically a small town, corn, maybe a little less rural because we actually had multiple highways. Whoa, I know. That's fancy. But yeah, very rural.
Many murderous children.
Murderous children.
Glad y'all made it out.
I actually
certainly a per capita. I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, corn per capita in our town is pretty high. It's a pretty high ratio for sure. Obviously, Children of the Corn from Ice Cube and Corn was made possible by this movie, so thank you for that amazing song. As we talked about earlier, there's 7 sequels, and they're all terrible. Every single one. If you thought this movie was bad, if you watched it,
are you trying to tell me that Children of the Corn 666 was not as good as the original?
Yeah, it's shocking because the bar is so low, and yet they're not there. I think I've watched at least 4 or 5 of them on VHS over the course of many years.
But does it tell a linear story throughout the whole thing?
It's actually an expanded universe. This is the Children of the Corn expanded universe is.
It is a linear story. I mean, they do follow a sequential.
There are branches like Cornstalk Leaves for some side stories, but in general, it really gets to the kernel of the story pretty much every time.
Oh my god.
No,
I'm not gonna hit the drum again.
I'm hitting a maximum amount of drops. One thing I wanted to mention, and Tom, thanks for sending this to me. The college football season is starting, and I don't watch football anymore, but I know all 3 of you guys definitely do. And there was the Big 12, which doesn't even have 12 teams anymore, which is lame, has an ad for each team. And Nebraska's is a bunch of people in football helmets and pads coming out of corn, and then they say something about like the ultimate sacrifice. And Nebraska's like, please stop doing that. Like Fox, come on. We're trying to recruit people here. We don't want them to think we're all in the cult. So please help us out. And then, that's all I have written down. But in general, this movie is not great. But basically, it is one of the most popular, like, in culture. Like, for horror movies, it's one of the biggest, like, impacts on culture for any horror movie, even though it is absolutely terrible. Like no one remembers really what the story is about, I don't think. But everyone knows like, oh, Children of the Corn is creepy. Like that's pretty much synonymous across everywhere. And it definitely, if you live there and you grew up and people are chasing you in a cornfield, which has happened to me numerous times, it is very creepy. Yeah. So let's go into overall impressions. So Nate, you've already kind of given us yours. Tom, I'm curious, what did you think of this one?
The movie was terrible. But I can get down with this kind of horror because it's so cheesy and not scary at all that I could watch it and not have to look away or.
So you weren't scared at all, really?
No,
in any parts?
Not even a little bit.
So it's not even a horror movie for you then? It was just like...
It was more of a documentary.
So this is Nebraska. Now I don't have to go there anymore.
Making a murder in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Lisa, how about you?
Come to Nebraska.
Right.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember liking it. I mean, I didn't. I mean, here's the problem. I've seen so many terrible ones now, thanks to Nate, that this one seems pretty good.
I don't even feel anything anymore.
No, not really. No, I mean, I think it was, Linda Hamilton was really good in it, and the kids are sufficiently creepy.
Yeah.
So
this Yeah, for me, this is one of those horror films that I feel like as a kid you could watch almost.
Yeah, very creepy as a kid.
Like, you know.
Yeah, for you two weirdos who watched all the horror movies when you were kids, not for me. It would have scared me as a kid.
Oh well, yeah.
Well, that's the point. Yeah,
scared you, but it wouldn't have been
like,
like I wouldn't have been, like needing therapy afterwards for years if I had watched this one as a kid.
Yeah. I wouldn't have trusted any of the kids on the playground anymore.
Well, unless you just wanted to be like Isaac. Dude, that's the path forward.
The thing is that this movie has basically doomed any child named Malachi for me. Like if someone goes, hey, I just had a kid. Like, oh, what's your kid's name? Malachi. I'm like, I'm out.
So my sister is a volleyball coach in Giddings, or no, she was in Giddings at the time. She's in Austin now, doing very well.
You're saying there's a Malachi out there?
Well, so I think this was when she was in Giddings. She's teaching as well. And this kid comes in and she looks at the roster and it says Malachi. And my sister just kind of, me and my brother and sister are super horror movie fans, but she looks up and she's like,
do you have red hair?
Just, I don't think he did.
Oh, okay.
But he just she looks up at her and just goes, Malachi. And the kid, who's clearly gotten this shit like his whole life, it's like, it's from the Bible. Aww. And she responds.
Wait, how is that better? Hold on.
She responds, no, it's from Children of the Corn. And I'm not dealing with it.
And you're off the team. Wait, what?
So apparently in the short story, Isaac and Malachi are not their names. It's something like really like William and Ben or something.
Oh, Isaac and Malachi are inspired choices.
Well, yeah. Well, all the kids in the short story, and I think they changed in the readaptation in 2009 was that they take all their names from the Old Testament.
Okay. So they choose their names.
Yeah, they choose their names. Yeah. Okay. They don't go into that here. We're just going to assume. Yeah, and funnily enough, no one questions it. Everyone's like, yeah, Nebraska, Malachi. Yeah, I'm down. I get it.
Yeah. Well, did you hear the radio stations there? I mean, come on.
Oh, man. All right. So let's talk about the main characters in this movie. There aren't many of them, save for just a whole bunch of kids. But let's talk about the only surviving adults first. So Bert and Vicky, who clearly are in need of some couples counseling. They are on their way to Seattle because Bert has a new job, but there's clearly issues.
Yeah. The main issue is Google Maps didn't exist because I mapped out where they should be going. They were coming from Illinois because that was where their license plate was. They're going to Seattle. None of the ways go through rural Nebraska that you would drive. None of these ways. I checked it. I said, are they coming from southern Illinois? Are they coming from Chicago? Both ways, you do not go through rural Nebraska. So, terrible.
Well, maybe
you sure they weren't going to see like the world's most giant ear of corn?
They were going to a tourist trap?
Pretty much.
Is that what you're saying?
Hit the drop again.
Wow. We're gonna set a record.
I am.
That button's gonna break on this touchpad.
I'm going for my Detroit Lions. I'm going 0-16 on this. But no. Yeah. So they went the wrong way, and I think the main plot point of this movie is, dude, just ask for directions, bro. All right, your girlfriend's telling you, hey man, let's just get on the highway. Let's just figure this out. He's like, no way, I got it. Don't worry. Eventually, he's turning on dirt roads, running into murderous children.
This dude straight up just does not listen to
nobody
Vicky at any point in time. I want to leave. It's fine. I think we should go.
I want to leave.
Looking around.
I want to stay. He says no both ways.
Yeah.
He's literally leaving and doing the opposite no matter what's happening.
Yeah. So, Tom, any thoughts on these two fine specimens of adulthood?
I kept writing down in my notes, Bert is a dick.
Bert is,
like, so many times. He would tell her, like, no, go stay here and don't do anything. But then 2 seconds later, he would say, come here and help me. You just told me to stay here. I'm not going to go help you now.
I'm a doctor. Just do what I say. Right. Is that kind of what the vibe you guys were giving or what?
Yeah.
Because
at one point, he's like, don't come to my emergency room.
Yeah, I wrote that down. He's a hypocrite.
More like the Hippocratic oath. Oh, God. Well, but yeah, he was terrible.
Yeah.
An overall bad character. Almost every decision was wrong. He was just bad.
And really, this is the first time the earliest that I can remember, at least of horror movies that I've seen, where I was sitting here going, I really don't care what happens to these two. Like, which I guess knowing what happens to them in the story versus what happens in the movie, which is totally different.
Yeah.
Changes things.
I mean, I thought Vicky was okay. I mean, she's like, hey, let's just go to this other town. Like, let's just let's go walk in this house. No, let's just like keep driving or whatever. Like, she's the one who's trying to make all the nice, like legitimately safe decisions. And he's just like, no, I'm a doctor. I'm a super doctor. I can do whatever I want or something.
I kept thinking, like, if Sarah Connor was in this, she would just snap all those little bastards' necks, and the movie would have been 10 minutes long.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ripley wouldn't put up with this shit. You know what I mean?
Snap. Snap. I wrote down this. How much of a letdown is it? You're in Children of the Corn, and you're in Terminator. You have, in Children of the Corn, you have this Burt guy. I didn't even look up the actor's name. I don't care. And then the other movie you have you have Michael Biehn, right? Like this like nice, like good looking 80s movie star guy, right? That is like your love interest. And then in this movie you have like this guy named Burt from Children of the Corn. It's like, wow, what a downgrade. I'm hoping I should have looked it up, but I'm hoping Children of the Corn was filmed first before Terminator, because if not, that's a jarring.
Surely
like,
Terminator
terrible.
made more, right?
Oh yeah, Terminator made way more.
Yeah.
But it was filmed for a lot more than $800,000.
That's true.
So I mean,
That's very true.
I have to look up and see which one made their money, like the ratio, better. But
yeah, I will check into that now. But as we're moving there, so I think we've said as much about the old folks. Let's talk about the youngins. So there's two kids that are a little bit different than the rest.
I'm just gonna say kids in quotes because we both know they're.
Well, let's talk about the ones that were stuffed in this for the movie.
Yeah.
Sarah and Job.
Oh yeah, them.
Yeah,
sure.
Let's.
The
everyone's
only
really
decent
excited.
kids in the movie.
Well, the only ones that are just allowed to be there because Sarah has some inexplicable
Psychic
vision. Yeah, which
she has the sight or whatever
the
means.
shinnin.
Yeah, she's like.
We get sued.
That's not between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
These kids are to me wholly unremarkable and unrememberable.
They don't seem that upset their parents are gone.
No, they're
like none of these kids are like, my parents are gone. I'm gonna cry a lot. I'm just gonna keep drawing.
But I think they're probably actually the age they were supposed to be. The actors.
Yes. I wrote down at one point. I said when the first kid tries to escape with his hilarious suitcase or whatever, or briefcase thing that he's carrying, he tries to escape with it. I said this dialogue is being delivered by children and sounds like it was written by children as well, because these kids are saying the most basic, like even for children, it sounded like wooden. It sounded really
kids say
bad.
the darndest things.
They say the woodest things because their acting was so terrible.
So the original screenplay was written by Stephen King.
Yes.
It went to the studio and they said, no, got a screenwriter do it. And they made it apparently more violent, because they said Stephen King's wasn't violent enough.
Yeah, he was going more into the backstory of Vicky and Bird and the lead up to the
But I
kids.
wonder how much better the dialogue would have been.
Oh, the dialogue would have been
kept his
much
screenplay.
better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Which I'm surprised about the whole violent thing, because again, the original, the short story is plenty gruesome. I don't know what else they wanted, because they took out a lot of stuff that it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's something when you wrote the original story and you can't even get your screenplay accepted.
And then of course the main antagonists. And Tom, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the powerful dynamic duo that is Isaac and Malachi.
Oh, Malachi was the star of the film. He should have been featured more as a fellow ginger. I think we need more portrayals in Hollywood like his.
Wait, more portrayals of him murdering people? Hold on.
He took charge.
So
you got shit done. You're not doing anything, Isaac.
So Tom, fellow ginger. So I take it you relate a little bit more to Malachi than maybe some other characters in this film.
Oh yeah.
So he was your favorite character of the movie for sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
He was. I mean, that exemplifies.
No proselytizing, no more.
Yeah, that exemplifies Malachi. Wow. Okay. Well.
Yeah. So
what do you think about Isaac then, Tom?
Yeah.
What do you think about Isaac comparatively?
He was a creepy old man. Apparently, like he was like 25. Like he sounded weird, and I couldn't quite figure out where he was from or who the hell his backstory was. I didn't understand anything. It was just a weird.
Yeah, he's getting the God visions, or he's telling.
Isaac's that guy you meet in college who's taking like 2 intro to philosophy classes. Like he's taken it twice, but thinks he knows everything about Carl Jung and all the ways of the world.
Well, he's like a child preacher, so he's literally like a million child preachers.
Yeah,
everywhere. Like Al Sharpton was a preacher at like age 8 or something. Like this is literally already happening. He's already There's already
and
pretty
what exactly
good
was his
for
plan for when he turned 18? How was he going to wiggle his way out of getting killed?
He walked behind the rose, said it's 20 now. You can say whatever shit you wanted. It doesn't even matter.
The age is 19 when you get
yes.
And I said it because in the books I think that's a point around that he changes he does do that. He does. In the books he goes, no, the one he walks behind the rose now says if you're 18 you now have to be sacrificed. Which
he goes down a level. For Malachi.
Yeah,
that makes way more sense.
Yeah,
this movie should have had that.
This movie, the short story, and I think again the 2009 remake I think sticks a little more closely to the short story. It's probably terrible still,
didn't catch that one.
Just read it. Isaac is. Yeah, and he plays that role perfectly because he's 25 and is much more worldly than you would expect.
His voice is creepy as hell.
Yeah,
his voice is like I said, somewhere between man shrieking and like cat being gutted.
He's like an anger minier Andy Griffith trying to wrangle these kids around.
Yeah, I don't know. This guy. I mean, he's basically the stand-in for any fire and brimstone preacher anywhere, right? I mean, that's what this is metaphorically casting him.
But I still think it's bullshit too. Still in Nebraska, you can be 19 and you can be sacrificed to he who walks behind the rose, but you still can't buy alcohol. Again, bullshit. They should be able to drink.
That's actually this is 1984, so the drinking age was 18 at the time.
Was it?
Yes, it was
in Nebraska. I have a feeling that is not correct.
Yep, it is correct. It was still 18 at the time.
Well,
so there you go. See, it's probably a lot of corn alcohol.
Done.
Probably a lot of corn alcohol. a lot of like a moonshine kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Does this movie really start off our dependence on ethanol?
It is. It's anti-ethanol. It's anti-preacher.
He who walks behind the rose is now CEO of Coke, and that's why they're all using high fructose corn syrup.
Yes, that's it. This is really this is one just really long ad for like the original MapQuest. That's what this movie is basically. It's like, hey, use MapQuest. Don't be children of the corn.
Right.
Done. Stock goes up instantly. Yeah, it's great.
All right, so let me ask you all, Lisa. We'll start with you this time. So, thoughts about Gatlin, Nebraska, a scenic Gatlin, Nebraska.
Hold on,
would you? Is this a potential future destination for you?
No offense to small towns, but this is one I just gun it and just go.
So this is what is weird for me because you say that, right? That is what I said when I told the story before where. Our car had like some troubles and we were like in Alabama or something, right? So like being from a small Midwest area that's kind of close to like cities, but it's still like on the edge of just like being very rural. I was like, oh yeah, that's normal. But then like I went to Alabama and that was like it was like deliverance for me. So like from people that are not from the Midwest, they think about children of the corn when they go like into the Midwest. So it was like a cool like, oh shit, that's where I grew up. That's what everyone thinks about where I grew up. And people coming with scythes, just like coming out of the woodwork and murdering people. Like,
I don't know if that's better or worse than everyone thinking people from Texas have cowboy hats and ride horses and have guns.
Well, the gun part is pretty. that's pretty close. That's pretty close.
Some stereotypes are stereotypes because there is some truth to it.
Yeah. Oh man.
But that's really, that's more South. I think the South owns a little bit more of that.
I wrote down the quote, Gatlin. What, do they have a monopoly on road signs? Because apparently there's like 6 people in this town, but apparently there's like 8,000 road signs pointing to this place.
Well, but I think they had the one adult that's still surviving, and he's supposed to do it because his pact is he's supposed to lead people to them.
Oh, for the
because he's got
sacrifice
the
for
fuel.
the crops.
Yeah,
And for
that's
the-
why. So I think he has put it up. Although then Malachi decides to just kill him
Yeah.
because I don't know why.
Well,
I
no,
don't
because
think
he said that they keep the old man for his oil and his
Yeah.
assistance and making machines work. Then Malachi's like, we have all the energy we need from the corn or whatever. And then Isaac's like,
See,
"Fuck
no one
that." Yeah, ethanol.
again. No one wants to buy into alternative energy sources. Not even in this society. So.
Well, I mean,
Just-
ethanol takes a lot of resources to create. See, so
Well, when
they're
you
already-
have someone who is clearly providing, like very effectively. Let's be real. This is the most effective cult ever.
Yeah, well, I wrote down this is this even a cult because they have more concrete signs than any other religion ever.
Right.
Like right at their fingertips, like all the time. Like, oh yeah, this guy's doing things. Like storms are getting created. Terrible CGI.
Yeah.
Yellow things are covering people. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff.
Well, okay, so like Game of Thrones, right? There's your 7 gods or the red god who clearly has brought a smoke monster in, has brought John, all these people back from the dead.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe I'm gonna follow that guy because the shit gets done, as Tom just said.
Yeah.
Follow the guy that gets shit done. Am I right, Tom?
Hell yeah.
You are preaching to the choir, literally.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So Tom, Gatlin, Nebraska, is that how close to home is that for you then? Is it
I mean,
like looking outside your window at this
How
point?
many miles away from where we live is this town?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I've driven through there.
Yeah, like
Numerous times.
I would say
Oh, wow.
go 20 miles east of where we grew up.
Yeah.
You're pretty close.
Will you drive
Yeah.
through there again after seeing this?
Yeah.
We kind of have to.
Kind of stuck.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
I wrote down like that was the Nebraska Tourism Board's best they could do with all those opening shots of just despair and crap broke down. That was the best they could do.
We have radio stations. Not a lot on them, but we got them. Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk about some of the. I only got picked up a few key points, and feel free to bring up anything y'all want to talk about with it as well. But the main point of why they're even following this, he who is behind the rose.
He who walks
God,
behind the rose.
It's so many words. So many.
You know why it's hard to
words.
remember? Because there's literally no walking by this deity. But okay, go ahead.
Also fair. So the crops are failing one year, and then the kid Isaac shows up and says, if we follow he who walks behind the rose,
Yeah.
the corn will come back. Why this is a lot of kids' concerns, I don't know. But
Getting shit done, like
that's
Tom
just
said.
how they want to do it. So they go and murder the parents.
They need sacrifices.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Old Testament farming techniques,
Yeah.
bloody but effective because
Yeah.
them crops come back strong.
This is the most coordinated children have ever been. Ever.
Yeah.
Like the coordination from these kids is like this is like some like Chinese gymnastics team level of coordination that's going on here. Because they all have like a signal. It's crazy.
It's like a red wedding ripple.
Oh,
No.
Malachi Red Wedding.
Yeah. Because they all just do it at the same time. And everyone's dying, coordinated.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. It was very coordinated. A lot of murder. I wrote down. I'm surprised this town had a working phone, but that's. And then apparently it stopped working.
Well, the mechanic knows how to fix everything.
Yes.
Everything.
But yeah, like
the one.
The murder takes place within the first 5 minutes of the movie. I wrote down death count is 15 people in under 5 minutes, which is actually pretty. Yeah, Stephen King wasn't writing that, Lisa. They added that one for sure.
Which on a per capita basis, I mean, just that's just ridiculous. I mean, they've wiped out a whole town.
And I said, okay. I said, how are none of the adults able to escape? And we're in rural Nebraska. Someone's got a shotgun somewhere.
Right.
I mean, like these are little children. Like this is a very coordinated attack. I feel like some of the adults should have escaped.
I concur. Right? I have no good answer for that.
And this guy is their adult that they keep, right? Why can't he just use all of his gasoline and knowledge of cars and oil and whatever they said and just drive away?
Because he just saw an entire town of adults die.
But
he's
wouldn't
probably
you want to
scared.
drive away from that?
Well, yes, but I think maybe, we said, how did they get all the adults? But at one point when they're actually going to burn someone on the cross. I mean, there's that weird, I don't know what it is, a fire thing that I guess is supposed to be the guy who walks behind the rows. For all we know, he could just pretty much take out the whole town with himself, take out the adults.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know. That guy should have got the fuck out of there. And you know how he should have got out of there? On the highway. Because this comes to the moral of the story. And I wrote down, Jamie Kennedy should have added this to his list of things you don't do from Scream in horror movies. Stay on the highway. Okay?
What if you run out of gas?
Never hitchhike on the highway. Okay? You never get off the highway ever. I can only think of one time the highway was bad, and that was in Final Destination.
Well,
other than that,
they didn't get off the highway in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He just sent them the wrong way down the highway.
Was that really a highway?
Well, I mean,
it was a small road, like a 2-lane.
It was technically it was not a back road.
Stay on an interstate highway as much as you possibly can. There we go.
But
more than 2 lanes.
Small towns are the lifeblood. This is why we have tourist trap situations to begin with, because everyone uses the damn highway.
Yeah, well, you know what?
And he says it in the movies.
He does.
For that damn highway.
Thank you, Tom. Tom, welcome. Please come back anytime.
Whoa, wait a minute. Nate, you made him watch Tourist Trap too?
No, I listened to the podcast.
He listened to the podcast.
Okay, you listened to the podcast. Okay,
Yeah.
Good. So that one's much better than watching the actual movie.
Am I not merciful? Come on.
Easy there, Xerxes.
Oh, man.
Okay, so this movie, just so much so little happens in this film. So they run. Bert and Vicky do show up. They do run over a kid who they do have found out has been shanked already.
Two movies in a row. Annabelle and then this back to back. A kid getting
it's almost like they planned it that way.
A kid getting ragdolled so hard.
That reminded me of when the guy got run over in RoboCop.
Yeah. That was good. It was one thing I forgot to mention was before all the adults died. They came out of church, and on the church sign, it says, Corn Drought and the Lord. That was the title of the sermon when the adults were coming out of church from the very beginning. That was crazy. And then, oh, my God. I mean, can we talk about these radio stations that were coming out in this car?
Go ahead, because I know you've been itching to talk about it.
Tom, what do you think about these radio stations?
It sounded like Robin Williams doing voices. On the radio.
There's good.
So there's
good
one.
Morning, Vietnam.
There's one. So there's one really bigoted pastor guy doing different voices for all of these different stations. Oh, that would be awesome. I said, who do you think this pastor voted for in 2016? That's a different. That's so when they run over the kid. They get out of the car, and obviously they look, and Vicky comes from behind Bert, and she says, is he, is he dead? But she said, is he? And Bert says, oh, yeah. And I was going to ask everybody, should he have said, oh, yeah, in the yellow voice? Like, chicka, chicka, oh, yeah. Or should he have done the Kool-Aid Man voice for the oh, yeah?
But you're forgetting the Macho Man voice.
Oh, the Macho, okay.
That's what I was going to say.
Macho, okay. Macho, all right, it's Macho Man. Lisa, Macho Man?
I have no opinion.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you see, it feels better. It feels more natural.
Okay. All right. So it should be the Macho Man one. All right.
I mean, snap it to a Slim Jim. Snap it to this kid, I guess.
His name was Jim. Can we just call it? His name was Jim.
Or his original name before he took the biblical name of whatever it was. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Yeah.
But after they run over him, Vicky comes up behind him and he grabs her head and puts it on his shoulder when her eyes are looking directly at the body. And he's like, it's okay, you don't look at it.
Just lean into it. Lean into the PTSD right now. Yeah. Well, then she has the creepy dream about the kids. Was she having premonitions too? Because she had a creepy dream about Malachi stalking her. Does she have premonitions too? I don't get how she would have even known that.
She gets really sleepy after murders.
Yeah.
Well, who doesn't?
Her body just
You know?
passes out. Oh man. I guess. And then what is this? I wrote down. So the kids. What were the kids' names? Susie and.
It
Susie
was
Q.
Sarah, and Job.
Sure, and Job. Great, love it. These kids. I wrote down. They're like the rebels of the town because they're playing the Devil's Monopoly and like the Devil's music or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't get who these kids are. What is happening? Why these?
Yeah,
rules?
they're just tolerated because she has the vision, but that doesn't really. Okay.
She predicted the Outlanders.
Yeah.
Is that basically it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, some of the stuff they added in didn't make any sense because that's not in the original.
Oh, it's not in the original. There's no visions.
As I remember, those kids are not in there. This is all just for the movie. It's all for you for the movie.
Okay. Oh man. I mean, yeah, this movie's got kids dying, parents dying. I'm going to do a spoiler. Does the dog die.com? The dog does die.
The dog does die. Yeah.
And he dies in scarf drenching fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never saw the body. He might still be alive in that cornfield.
But his dead may never die, but comes back stronger.
The dog faked his own death? Oh, shit.
Actually, if this is Stephen King, then that's Cujo. And
yeah. That's Cujo's mom.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. We have a misery and a thing. Wow. Okay.
So truthfully, I mean, this is my thought of really most of this film. Not really a whole lot happens in the middle of this.
No, the middle is terrible.
The next big key point I have is while Vicky is being eventually kind of kidnapped by Malachi, Bert,
whatever.
some B name,
Dick, as Tom would say. Just call him Dick, whatever.
He shows up to really like the worst birthday party I've ever seen, where they're all just drinking that one kid's blood.
Yeah, in the corn.
Yeah,
the corn.
Yeah, because he is of age. He is ready to, be sacrificed to he who walks behind the rose.
God, I don't know.
Because 19 is when they've decided that's adulthood.
Yeah, sure. Again, can't drink alcohol, but I guess they can at the time, but. Yeah, I mean, God, I don't know. I mean, like you have Isaac doing the preaching, and there's this lady minion doing the preaching, like in this church scene or whatever. She's like, I don't know.
Bert likes to hear himself talk a lot. I noticed too, because he's over here like, oh, so you're using the Bible? Is this who writes it?
Yeah, you want to rewrite it or which
you're
parts?
using what's the parts that benefit you? Yeah, it's.
I'd like to write a book that Bert could read. It's called "Stay on the Fucking Highway." Okay, go to the other town. Don't break into houses.
Yeah,
I mean,
they had very casual B&E.
Yeah, I know.
Real easy getting in there.
It was like, oh god. And then so this has been 3 years, right? Because it was like 3 years earlier, right? And then there's been no adults in this town for 3 years, and no one's noticed. Like nobody.
Well, the corn still gets
the corn
produced.
Still ground. Okay. Oh god. I don't know. I wrote that this music is country omen. The country omen.
Oh my god.
Because it's very omen-esque, this music, but in a good way. I thought it was good. What do you think about the music, Lisa?
I don't remember it that well. I mean, I'm sure it's the 80s, usual 80s music, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and listen to it.
Again, nothing about the middle of this movie is
You were
remarkable.
pulling your own Vicky, and you just passed out. You were just so excited about this movie. It's like, I'm out.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Vicky's singing was pretty great. That in the beginning, that was top notch.
Yeah, it's like we can't get the rights to "School's Out," so what's another 1950s "Schools is Ending" song?
Yeah,
and we'll go from there.
School's not in session anymore. Don't sue us, please.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying. There's again, not a whole lot happens in between the.
Yeah, the middle is just
so
blurg.
They have Vicky. They post her up on the scarecrow, and they're all ready to kill her and sacrifice her. There's of course the famous Outlander scene, which we played the South Park version of.
Outlander.
South Park nailed this movie better than the movie did for sure.
Yeah. I like it. He yells Outlander, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god, this guy yelled Outlander! What the hell?" And then he's like able to escape and run away because he yelled Outlander.
And then so this is when we get to the, I guess, wrestling with power, where we have, who are you with? You team Malachi or are you team Isaac? Tom is clearly team Malachi.
What?
All gingers stick together.
I'm team Isaac. I think I'm team Isaac on
You're
this
team
one.
Isaac?
Yeah.
That's surprising. I don't know why.
Yeah,
You're going with the Lord guy. That's weird.
Right?
Yeah. Lord, quote, quote, guy, quote, quote, the, quote, quote. None of these, I don't know if any of these things work. But no, I like Isaac better. He's a little more diplomatic. He's a little more thoughtful, less murdery. Despite a lot of murders, he's less murdery.
He doesn't murder. I mean, he just doesn't get his hands dirty.
That's true.
Very Manson-esque.
Malachi's the
he's Manson-y,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, would you rather be Manson-y or like Jeffrey Dahmer? I'd rather be Manson-y, probably.
I mean,
Wow.
in context.
This is a rock and a hard place.
If I'm Jeffrey Dahmer in like the Andes, where there's not a lot of food supply, then I'm not gonna be Manson singing fucking folk tunes
in the Andes.
Fucking alive.
Wow. We're hitting all the key demographics of South American Andes viewers and Nebraskanites.
Lisa, are you team
Nebraska.
Isaac or team Malachi?
I'm team get the hell out of this town. I don't know why y'all are picking between two evils here.
Lisa's team Vicky, the one girl who keeps getting fucked by everyone in this movie.
Oh God!
Like she's like Clerks. I'm supposed to be here today.
You're
right.
You're team Hemingford, the next town. Just get out. Get me out of here.
I don't know. There is something to be said about Malachi and his get it done. I don't know.
I don't. Jesus. I don't know. I mean,
in charge.
Yeah, he takes charge.
He does.
I get it.
So this all leads to them all turning against Isaac because Malachi is really the one that all the kids really follow.
Yeah.
Isaac kind of.
He's the one they're scared of.
Isaac uses fear to threaten them, but Malachi's the one that actually. He's the one seen doing stuff. Any people doing like leadership seminars. There you go. Practice what you preach.
I wrote Malachi is the corn predator.
Oh my God.
He's like stalking people right in the town. Yeah. He's imposing for sure.
So we end up with Isaac sacrificed to he who walks the right. Good God!
He walks behind the rose.
It's just not happening. It's not happening.
The only thing you need to remember is this could be some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the ground shifting up, and then it turns all
red, and there's a yellow one.
So the ground shifting up wasn't CGI. They rigged like a wheelbarrow. They turned it upside down, and they had dug a trench, which was funny because apparently they got the local Boy Scouts to dig the trench for them.
Awesome.
Because they were interested in special effects. So they're like, okay, well, y'all dig the trench and we'll show you how we're going to set this up.
They're like, how can we not pay people and have this work?
I know, right? That's why it was only $800,000. Put the dirt over. So that was actually, they were pulling the wheelbarrow to have the dirt come up. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. But
that other CGI fire thing, that was horrible.
So it's he who walks behind the rose, but shouldn't it really be he who tremors beneath the rose?
Yeah.
I wrote that down.
What did you write?
He who tremors behind the rose.
No! Yeah. Wow.
I literally wrote that down.
That is,
well done.
Wow.
Well done.
Psychic. That's exactly what it was. They couldn't afford a person who could walk. I don't know. Like, who knows?
No. So Isaac gets taken. Malachi's in charge. Bert fights Malachi.
He bitch slaps the shit out of Malachi.
Yeah,
that's what I read.
And then gives them all a stern talking to.
Yeah.
Because Bert is really does not know how to read a room.
Yeah. I wrote, I hope the next town, Hemingford, has a well-funded juvie system because
well,
this is going to be.
After watching number 2, they do not.
They do not. Okay. Well.
Spoiler. They do not. Yeah. And then, of course, the greatest scene of the movie, Isaac comes back in an even creepier voice.
Zombie Isaac.
And just wrecks Malachi.
Do you have the Malachi drop? Did you?
No.
Oh, God.
Malachi. Malachi.
Yeah. Tom's got it.
Tom MVP.
Tom has got it. Yeah, I mean, oh god. And then the corn goes all Evil Dead to stop Bert, right?
We have the final scene, which of that. Well, not the final scene, but the big battle where they find out. We have to burn all the corn. Sure.
The kid Job basically like talks the adult Bert in like how to like operate machinery. Like he's walking him through. He's walking the adult through like how to do everything. It's ridiculous.
How to make a Molotov cocktail. How to do that. Yeah, it's very
But what to do
convoluted.
at the begin- Bert was like, "No, don't help me," and then the kid tells him exactly what to do to save everyone.
Yeah, this guy cannot take any criticism
What kind
or
of
any
doctor
direction.
is he again?
I don't know.
Shitty.
Fair.
He's like a doctor who like does everything on his own and never has to interact with anyone. Somehow.
He's got to be like a therapist or something. He's not like an actual surgeon. Hopefully, someone has to work with other doctors.
Well, you're saying normal trauma doctors don't put dead kids in their trunk and just log them around multiple places. You're saying they don't do that?
Well, I don't know. He's from Illinois. I don't know how they handle it over there. But Seattle clearly wanted that skill set because they hired his ass. So.
Yeah.
Oh
God.
So all this horrible nightmare comes to an end. They're driving off with Job and Sarah, and then the girl from the shittiest birthday party ever.
Yeah, the aggressive girl
tries to murder them all, and
so she yells interloper at them when she tries to stab them, and Malachi yelled Outlander. Can they get their branding like on together or what? Which one do you like better, Lisa? Interloper or Outlander?
Well, was it interloper because he started interfering? Like, I guess if they had just, not gotten involved.
So you start at Outlander,
right?
And then you work your way up into interloper.
Because now he's just being a pain in the butt.
Oh, okay. Well, she learns something every day. And then she gets a car door on her face
for her trouble.
And then the last line is say the last line again, Lisa.
What's the last?
The last line of the entire movie is your postcard.
Quote.
The postcard.
Oh yeah, because they slap her, and then I think it's Bert's like, oh, she's passed out. What are we gonna do now? So we'll send her a car from Seattle. Get in the car. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll send her a car from Seattle. You just killed a girl. You just hit her head so hard that she exploded in this car. Send her a get well car from Seattle. Boom.
She'll be
Mic
fine.
drop. Movie over. Mic drop. It is over.
Oh god. Oh. So with that said, Tom, anything else about this movie you wanna touch on?
I wrote down that when they first go to the diner, the Hanson's diner, and there's all the corn. Vicky says, and I wrote it down exactly. What is it with this corn? And I thought, was she not acting like they were rolling before they should go?
Yeah. It's like B-roll. They're like, we need to pad this movie. Let's just put it in there.
Yeah, this has to be a solid hour and a half. So
yeah. Oh god.
Like what the fuck? And then in the car, they had like put corn stalks in the engine to make them not go. Couldn't they have just taken it out of the engine and driven the fuck out of there?
Well, they didn't have the adult guy anymore. Maybe that was it. They already killed him, so now they just
good point.
Their main move after they kill that guy is just corn. Let's just throw corn at the problem and see what happens. Yeah, that was rough. I don't know.
And I wrote down in honor of Houston, those kids played worse defense than Harden trying to corner Bert.
Oh,
He got away a lot.
Wow.
Gotta call it like it is.
Shuffle those feet, kid. Kids. Side to side.
Lisa, anything else that you want to talk about on this one?
I don't think so.
We covered the hits as far as you're concerned. Nate, how about you?
I mean, the CGI in this movie is actively some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I'm including Ginger Dead Man in this level.
Okay, but in context,
it's earlier.
This is early to mid.
It doesn't matter. Tron had already happened. All right. I mean, come on.
Tron is not the staple of good CGI.
I'm just saying.
By any stretch.
Terminator was the same year as this. All right. I mean, it was bad. It was actively
Terminator
bad.
wasn't a lot of CGI. Terminator was a lot of practical effects.
I know. I'm just saying. This was so bad. The CGI was so bad. He walks behind the rose.
Well, what other CGI? That literally was the only CGI. Was just when he
the red
and yellow, right? And it was yellow. Yeah, yellow when he came back, I think, and red when he got absorbed. I don't know.
But that was it, right?
Yeah, that was it. And the clouds and all that shit that they did too.
Oh, okay.
God, that was actively bad. He walks behind the rose how he dies. I guess he doesn't die because there's 7 more movies, but the way that it dies is exploding corn, and I'm wondering how this happened. How can the corn explode like that?
Maybe the corn.
I'm
is his
asking for
soul.
a friend, aka Tom, because he can try those in his backyard basically
And
whenever
if
he
the
wants.
corn exploded, isn't it popcorn then?
Yeah, Troll 2. Troll 2 style.
Hobnobbing.
I know it was a better pun joke than what we've dealt with earlier.
Yes, and then Bert's logic while driving is some of the worst.
Yeah.
Some of the worst man won't get directions thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I was actively rooting for him to die the entire movie.
Who drives off at the end? Is it him or her?
It should be her.
That's what I'm
It should
saying.
be her.
Like, why are
We're
you
going
letting him
to
drive
the
again?
fucking highway. Okay, we're going there. Shut your fucking face.
Stopping till we get to fucking Seattle.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're not stopping till we get to see it.
No.
Well, they just take these kids with them. Like they're not.
Seattle.
They're not gonna. They're taking. They just steal kids. They're stealing children at this point with them.
Pretty
right?
sure those children did not want to stay.
They didn't want to stay.
Well, did they ask?
Yeah, did they ask?
Well, they tried to take their little briefcase suitcase thing and get the hell
Is
out of
the
there.
dead kid still in the trunk?
Yes, the dead kid is still in the trunk. God.
So
it's
they
even
took 3
worse.
kids. So
Just don't get pulled over.
Or maybe they kept the girl. They hit her face, and they could be 4 kids.
Oh my
They
God.
God, this is the worst.
Any last things, Nate?
That's I got a really good award that I'm really
All
excited
right.
about.
Well, good. Then. So
Get a
let's
drop ready for the award.
I don't have a drop ready for the award.
Yeah.
So I do have a drop. What I do have a drop for is the question I ask you every week. What would you do differently?
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Tom, what do you do differently?
I'm going to use a solar-powered car and go through Iowa instead of Nebraska.
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe pull up a map ahead of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Solar powered car is a great idea.
Yeah, that's solid. Lisa.
I'm starting to think if I'm Vicky, I just leave Bert. Like halfway
just get
through,
divorced.
I just like look.
Nice.
The car works.
Were they married or were they just dating? I don't know.
Doesn't
I thought they
matter.
wanted to get married, and he was like, "No."
Yeah, right. I think they're just dating.
Well, then it's easier for them to
hit
get the hell out of
the
there.
eject button.
Cool. You hang
Done.
out here. I'm gonna drive off with this kid.
No.
in the trunk.
Actually, what you do is you have them when you have to stop for gas. You can't go all the way to Seattle, but when you have them stop for gas, she just leaves and like gets a ride from somebody else and ditches Bert with the children.
I'm not leaving the children with that jerk.
You don't think so? Okay, well,
No.
Wow.
I mean, it would be a clean break if that's what you want.
Just
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
solid.
enough about the kid they hit.
Nate, how about you?
I would do hashtag stay on the fucking highway. That's it.
All right.
Stay on the highway and maybe beat up the kids more. I mean, Bert could have kicked the shit out of all those kids if he really wanted to.
Yeah. To me, this is, and again, this is a very Texas comment. You know, have a fucking gun with you. And, just start blasting kids when you start reading.
Man.
Look, the minute they're all drinking blood in the church and you haven't seen an adult in a
You just
while.
start shooting.
Just, you know what? It's done. I'm not gonna.
Oh, you want to go to He Who Walks Behind the Rose? Let me expedite that for you.
Let me send you to your Lord and Savior, He Who Walks Behind the Road.
God.
I guess I should mention this is all in the context of this movie, but still, I feel strongly about this. Have some sort of protection with you.
Yeah.
Also, they're kids. This should not be hard. They don't have superpowers.
Yeah. I mean, well, some of these kids are 19, 25 years old, so they're wise beyond their years.
they know how to make a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah, they
so-
can make Molotov cocktails. They're pretty adept. They can run farm machinery for many years. I mean, yeah, they're all over the
They
place.
have the Shannon, some of them. So,
Yeah, some of them. Yeah.
Okay, so awards, Nate. Right off the bat, what do you got?
My award for best cran brand goes to Sarah.
God.
She is the cran brand of this movie.
Fantastic.
You're welcome.
Lisa.
Worst long-term looking cult, because eventually they're all gonna hit 18 or 19, no matter how much he just.
Yeah.
I mean, if Isaac wants to sacrifice somebody, he's gonna, eventually he's gonna be up no matter what he does.
What is
but-
He Who Walks Behind the Rose like?
Long-term
Sex
vision for
before
this.
marriage policy.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's fair.
Because if it's like a multiple wives concubine kind of thing, that I guess I'll be I'm Isaac. I guess I'm the leader of the church. I guess I might as well father all these children. Then that could maybe prolong the cult. But not sustainable.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change my award based on that.
Oh, nice.
So I'll just say I'll slightly alter it. Just the most honest politician would be Isaac, because he promises, he does deliver.
He delivered.
The
crops got better.
Yeah. You make the sacrifice. Yeah, you'll be parentless for a while, but Isaac's got you. Malachi's got you. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, he told Malachi, like, look, I'm gonna come after you, and then he zombie came after him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there you go. Tom, your award.
I'm going to go Best Corn Niblet to Job for MacGyvering their death of the man who walks behind the rose.
The man who walks behind. No one can get this name right.
It's not important. It's not worth trying to.
He who blows up in the cornfield.
That's right.
Like Hiroshima bombed it.
Yeah, that was very MacGyver-y. You're wondering why this kid didn't do more earlier in the movie, if he could do all that. But
well, with that said, with the awards given out, let's move to my favorite section of the week.
Final cut.
Lisa, what do you give this movie?
Okay, so here's a problem. I had remembered it pretty fondly. Like, that was a pretty good movie. But the more that y'all talked about it, I'm like, was it good? I don't know. So I'll probably give it like 4 out of 10 corn stalks.
Nice.
4 out of 10 corn stalks. Okay.
Nice. Nate?
Yeah, this movie is very memorable. It's very quotable. It stayed in the culture a long time, but it's not anywhere near good, I would say. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 10 psychic crayon murders.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tom?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I could kind of get through this because it wasn't scary. So it's just kind of schlocky. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 10 cornsufictions.
Cornsufictions. Well done. The Nebraska Cornsufictioners. This is what they should change their team name to.
So this is, I don't know. I've struggled. I'm going to give this 5 out of 10 evil gingers.
Wow. Really leaning into it.
I'll if it's on, I'm going to watch it. It's not a great movie by any stretch.
Yeah.
But it is worthwhile. So it's a class. It's like you said earlier. It's so referenced. It's such a pop cultural thing, even though the movie itself really is not. It's like
no, it lives on. I mean, if you say Children of the Corn to anybody, I mean, they get it. It doesn't matter who it is, if they've seen the movie or not. I mean, it's pretty ubiquitous.
Yep.
Considering how terrible the movie is.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Texas Podcast Massacre. Nate, tell them where they can find us.
They can, tweet people from Nebraska, tweet your dismay about how we made fun of your state at TXPodMassacre. Check us out at TexasPodcastMassacre.com. We have a Facebook group. Check us out there. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. We're all over the place. And just one last thing from me. If you guys have any extra money, please donate to the victims of Hurricane Harvey, because it was rough here in Houston. So if you guys have any ability to help out there, even if it happens to be JJ Watt's ridiculous thing or whatever, Red Cross, anywhere, that would be greatly appreciated for sure.
Yeah, a lot of South Texas, not just Houston, but there are several cities that need
help. There's still like 10 feet of water in certain places that I drove by today. So it's pretty crazy.
Houston's our home, but at least it's right. Even further than that, Rockport, Corpus Christi, there's a lot of places across Gulf through. They've lost everything.
Beaumont.
Where they got the full wind force. So,
yep.
This is going to be something that, the city, I'm very proud that the city has come together. I mean, this is our home. I'm very happy that, we really have gotten, from a safety and lives perspective, relatively unscathed. Still going to be a lot of recovery efforts. So if you are able to help in any way you can, please do so. There's plenty of different charitable organizations that are doing that. The best is really to try to find some of the local ones, and I think we'll add some links on our show notes if you're able to help. But both of you. Thank y'all very much for, walking behind the rows with me. Tom, congratulations on completing your first episode. We hope to have you back soon.
I survived.
You did. And we'll have to up the ante for your next one.
It's going to be a scarier one.
And don't forget, it's out this weekend, so go see it.
What's it?
It's out this weekend.
Another Stephen King classic.
Yep. That'll be our episode next week. So make sure to tune in. For all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre, just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. Good night.